Hi, welcome back to Looking at Hollywood. Oh, I love movie stars, and we sure have a big one today. We have Linda Christian, and she worked with tremendous people. Charles Boyer, Robert Taylor, Elizabeth Taylor, Louis Jourdan, Johnny Weissmuller, in one of my favorite films, Tarzan and the Mermaid. And we have her here today with Skippy Lowe. So let's eavesdrop on them now.
Linda grew up where, actually?
Well, all over the globe.
No, but grew up as a child,
Yes, well, as a child I was born in Tampico, Mexico, because my father was with the Shell there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Being a Dutchman, we went back to Holland after 6 years in Venezuela, and then we went to the Middle East, but they sent me to boarding schools in Holland and Italy, and I also went to the Jerusalem Girls' College.
Really?
When it was still Palestine.
Why there?
Because my father was stationed at the time with the Iraq Petroleum Company in Haifa, now Israel.
So Linda Christian, international little girl though. You were an international little girl.
I was brought up with 6 languages, yes.
6? You speak 6?
Yes, read, write.
Because when you're a little girl, you pick up those languages quickly.
Before you're 16 is the easiest way to learn a language. But you have to be in the country itself.
But you spent a lot of time in these countries, though, Linda.
Yes.
After around, what made Linda Christian get into acting?
It was a strange coincidence. My hero of the screen was Errol Flynn, and he came to Mexico just after I graduated from the American high school there. And he said, "Oh, what would you like to do with your life?" And I said, "I'd like to become a doctor, to look after the sick." And he said, "What? Spend your life looking after sick people? You're coming with me to Hollywood." And that was it.
So Earl Flynn brought you to Hollywood?
Yes, under his new banner that he had organized to get out of the contract with Warner's, and he made a company called Thompson Productions. But unfortunately, other things impeded this development.
Linda Christian, at 16.
Yeah.
Did you know who Earl Flynn really was? Like the most sexual, craziest man of the world at that time? You didn't know that, did you?
I saw him as Robin Hood and all his marvelous films that he had done. I didn't see him as the ground person.
Right. First film brought you to Hollywood. First film was Tarzan and the Mermaids. Was that the very first?
Yes, that was the
with
very first.
Johnny Weissmuller?
Yes.
Brenda Joyce? Oh, love that lady.
And Gustavo Rojo, he's a leading man in Mexico.
Was it filmed in Mexico?
It was mostly filmed in Acapulco and Mexico City. The tank where we did the underwater scene was ice cold when I think of it.
But Mexico, you were very at home and relaxed.
Well, I've only spent about 1.5 years of my life in Mexico.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Because every time I hear Linda Christian nowadays, I think of you in Acapulco.
No, I don't like Acapulco anymore.
Rome.
I liked Acapulco when it was a little fishing village, but not
really?
anymore.
What do you mean, like a fishing village?
It was. It was a tiny little fishing village.
Really?
Yes, and now it's become another Miami. It's not that romantic, tropical little place that it used to be.
What was your second film after that? You did Happy Time? That's Louis Jourdan.
Yes, and Charles Boyer.
Let's show this clip right. Let's show it right here. Look, we have a
poster.
A poster. Let's show this poster here.
Finally, a
Happy Time.
film.
I have one here too. Let's show this. How's that? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. Is that Louis Jourdan there?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, who else was in this? Charles Boyer?
Charles Boyer, Kurt Kasner, Bobby Driscoll.
Was this MGM? Or
it was Columbia.
Columbia? Because you did a lot of films at MGM, though.
Yes, I was on the contract, but they loaned me out.
How did you get under contract?
It was Ida Koverman, was the head secretary of Louis B. Mayer. She saw me in a fashion show of Lily Daché when we used to wear hats. I wish we'd go back to hats. I love them.
Why would you like to go back to hats again?
I think it finishes up the outfit. It completes it. It makes it a harmonious total.
Linda, Hollywood those days, in the 40s, that was truly Hollywood, wasn't
Yes, it was very glamorous then, but very hard work too.
Because people dressed.
Yes,
Dinner,
yes.
gowns, Cyril's, Macombos.
Yeah.
Looking back.
We didn't have very much time to do that, probably just on Saturday night.
Was it only a Saturday? It seems like
Yeah.
when I pick up the magazines as a child, you see all the stars.
But that
like
depends on what day they publish the magazines.
They seemed like
The
they were going out.
photographs.
They were going out every night, it seemed.
No.
Under
Not
contract-
if you have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Under contract with MGM. Stock? They put you under stock contract, did you?
Yes, a normal contract.
A normal contract? You had to go to school there, learn acting,
Yes,
singing?
speech, singing, dancing, acting.
Slaves of Babylon, Richard Conte, Linda Christie.
Yes.
Look at this. Look at this. Is this
It's
beautiful?
again Columbia.
Is this a Columbia picture?
Another loan out. Harry Cohn offered me also a marvelous role, but it became very complicated. Tyrone had to accept to do Solomon and Bathsheba
Right.
3 years before he did it.
Uh-huh.
And Harry Cohn said, if you convince him to do this, I will let you have a role that will give you an Academy Award. It was for From Here to Eternity, the one that Donna Reed.
Right. Was that
Got-
going to be your role?
Yes.
What happened, Linda?
Tyrone didn't want to do Slaves of Babylon.
He didn't?
I'm sorry,
So,
not the
you mean
Slaves of
of,
Babylon. Solomon.
Solomon, yeah.
Solomon and Bathsheba. But he did do it later on. And
Right,
dropped
and that's
dead
when he
then.
died in Madrid, the last film.
Yeah.
Tell me about Richard Conte working Slaves of Babylon, working with Richard Conte. There's a hot guy, Rit. I mean, sexy, all the women in the world.
Yeah.
Tell me about him.
He got a little confused with the role and the man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well,
Was
like
he?
very amorous, and I had to ask Tyrone to come on the set to sort of put him straight.
How did you meet Tyrone Power? Tell me about Tyrone Power, one of the greatest
Yeah.
stars in Hollywood, Linda Christian. What was that
Tyrone.
meeting? In Rome?
In Rome.
You did meet
Through my sister. She wanted his autograph. He was her hero. And it was late at night, and I said, we don't want to disturb him. And we went to our rooms, and she picked up the phone and asked for his suite. And he said, well, come on over, have a drink. And I said, don't drink. Well, come on and have a cigarette. I don't
Right.
smoke. Well, then do come and take the autograph for your sister. Ah, yes, the autograph. So we went over there, and of course, Rome being what it is,
Right.
when he opened the door, all the bells started to ring, and it was just...
Both bells
Yes,
between both of you?
Absolutely.
Really?
And he immediately proposed marriage.
Immediately?
Immediately.
You had one of the biggest weddings in Rome.
Yes, they keep on showing it. The other day I went back to Rome for a week for a television show, a little bit like ours.
Right.
And they showed it again.
To keep showing it.
Yeah, they're really proud of it.
How many children did you have by Tyrone Power?
Well, we lost two boys and a girl, and then I had Romina and Taran.
Romina
Romina is living in Italy,
In
and she's
in
very
Rome?
successful with her husband, singing all over the world.
She's very famous in Europe.
Yeah, and
Singer.
also...
All over?
I was
In
nearly
Mexico?
talking to you in Dutch.
That's okay. You can speak Dutch. That's okay.
I don't think
Skippy can speak Dutch. I can speak Dutch, darling. Go ahead.
Ook, I said, that means also
Uh-huh.
in Dutch. Anyway, Taran is here, and she's fallen in love with your original inhabitants of America. Is Indian from Wisconsin. So we'll have to see what happens there.
Happy memories with Tyrone Power. Come on.
Well,
Was it your marriage, you think, or
it was the driving through Europe before, actually.
really? Like what?
We went all over Portugal, Spain, France, Italy in a car, and then suddenly people would go, Tyrone Power, Tyrone Power. He had a beret on and a convertible, and everybody recognized him, and everybody loved and adored him.
They did adore him. didn't they?
Yes.
Why so much in Spain and
'Cause
much
he
more
looked
in
Latin.
Spain? He was Latin, wasn't he?
He looked Latin. He's a black Irish.
Oh, yeah.
Irish, French, and English.
Looking back,
Yeah.
your honeymoon night with Tyrone Power.
Anyway,
Linda, how
we
was
nearly didn't make it. We nearly went into a big car accident, but
Really?
it was avoided at the last minute.
the honeymoon?
No, the accident.
The car accident.
We went to Kitzbühel in Austria.
Was that where you went?
Yes. It was very cozy in the winter.
Uh-huh.
And the Weißes Rössel means the white little horse. And we both, for the first time, were skiing. I never had skied before.
Did he teach you?
That was fun.
Yeah. So he must have showed you life. Doors open for you when you met Tyrone Power.
Well, they were already open, but we both went through them then.
I see.
Yes.
Looking back, hard times in your life with Tyrone Power at the end, towards the end of the career, would you
Well,
say?
it's not so much towards the end, it was during, because
During? Like what?
we lost the first boy
Right.
in France, and then the second boy in Mexico, and the third little baby in the Philippines, and I was not really altogether myself because of the interrupted pregnancies, and they can do terrible things to a woman's body. I don't wish it on anyone.
What was Tyrone Power's philosophy in life when you met him? You must have lived with, what was his philosophy? Because he was such a great guy.
Yeah, everybody loved him. He
What
did a
made-
lot of reading too, because he missed his actual schooling,
Uh-huh.
the formal schooling.
So he read a lot.
Yes, he was self-instructing himself.
Looking back, must have had some great memories with Tyrone Power. But you got married again, though.
Yes, but that was only 24 hours.
24
Well,
hours?
yeah.
Yeah, tell me about that, because Linda, no, you're 24 hours. And then something happened. You lived and you thought you were married for all these years. Let's
Yes.
go, let's talk about that. What do you mean 24 hours?
Well, we
You married Edmund
Edmund Purdom. I
Purdom,
did
a
the
wonderful
film
actor.
Athena.
You did,
Athena with him.
yes, right.
We got married in Mexico, and on the honeymoon, he beat me up because I had
Here's
made
Edmund.
him wait so long to get married.
There he is right there. That's your second husband, Edmund. Look how beautiful. This was a film called what?
Athena.
Athena. This was in Europe? Was this
No,
no, it was in
on
America?
MGM.
MGM.
Yes.
That's right. He did movies with Lana Turner.
He
You
did a film with Lana Turner and the Egyptian,
That's Lana,
and
right.
the one with the voice of Mario Lanza,
Uh-huh.
the Student Prince.
Student Prince. Yes, he was wonderful with Anne Blythe.
Because he has
Absolutely
a very
wonderful.
musical ear. But he was very nice as a boyfriend, but then as the husband beating me up, I wasn't going to have any repetition. So
Was he? What,
that was that.
He was a beater.
Well, only once is enough with me. So I sent him home on the honeymoon night.
On the honeymoon night. What happened there? Tell me.
Well,
What
we were
happened,
at
actually?
friends in Acapulco, and after dinner we went to our suite, and he beat me because I had made him wait so long to get married.
Really? But you. But Linda, you just recently discovered.
Yes,
That
I was
you-
going after I was cleaning up at the house in Mexico after my mother died in my arms.
She just died.
I noticed in a passport that they had scratched out divorce because I thought that they had divorced me. And it turned out that the lawyer had committed suicide and my brother died, and nobody told me that the papers had never been finalized.
Right.
So I'm still trying to get a divorce after 31 years of not having been living under the same roof as husband and wife.
Right.
It's very
Tough,
complicated.
isn't it? So you had a lot of marriage. You could have married a lot of people, but you
Yeah,
thought you
but
were
I didn't feel like getting married. I never really felt like getting
Linda
married.
Christian, traveling around the world, VIP. You know every. You're Rich and Famous. When this Robin Leach does Rich and Famous, there you are. You and Miss Grace Robbins. You are the two ladies that travel around the world.
Yes, Grace and
Good
I are
friends.
great friends forever and ever.
Travel around the world, international stars. You're not just a movie star anymore. You're an international VIP lady.
But she was a
What-
VIP.
I understand that. Yes, but just tell me more about living in all the world like that. Living that way. Are you happy that way?
Yes, I make a lot of friends and I keep them. I'm very proud of that. It's like a rose garden. You have to keep it watered and look after. And it makes me very happy to have all these friends all over the world.
Because you do have a lot.
Yes.
You go to Mexico?
Mexico and Norway and England and France and Italy and Austria, Germany, everywhere.
Linda Christian, don't you get tired? You love to travel, though. You just keep
Yes,
traveling.
I think it's something that was in my destiny from the very beginning, because after 1 year we left my birthplace, Tampico, Mexico, and I've been traveling ever since.
The VIP. You did a wonderful movie with Rod Taylor, Australian guy.
Yes.
Wonderful Australian actor. Here he is.
A wonderful
This is with
coverage.
Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor
And yes, and
Richard Burton.
Right.
Tell me about Richard Burton, you and him. What was that on the set? Anything?
We never really met on the set because there were different times of shooting.
Elizabeth Taylor?
Yes, Elizabeth Taylor also at one point rented our home. We had, Tyrone and I, together on 242 Copa de Oro in Bel Air.
You must have had a lot of people at your home. What was it like, Linda, Mr. and Mrs. Tyrone Power's home, Linda? On an ordinary night.
Never a dull moment.
Like an ordinary night, like what?
People would drop by from all over, even though we had to get up early in the morning, or Tyrone had to get up early. They paid no attention, and sometimes it wasn't until 1 or 2 that he was able to go to bed and then get up at 6 o'clock.
How did he handle that?
No, I don't think it started to burn his candle at both ends, because he died much too young, don't you think?
Drank? A lot of drinking.
Well,
yes?
Irish
Is it the black Irish that drinks?
Yes, and
what did he actually like?
work.
What did he like to drink, Tyrone Power?
Was it martinis?
Martinis? Martinis, killers, my dear.
Well,
killers.
everybody was doing it.
Was it that, Hollywood?
Yeah, well, they needed that lift after such
What's
tiredness.
the biggest lesson that Linda Christian has learned?
Patience, I suppose. Yeah.
What else? Anything else, Linda?
Understanding.
I interviewed someone last week. Do you remember that, darling? Last week, someone said the very same thing. It was yes, it was a 90-year-old man. His name was Francis Leather. I said the same thing to him. Francis Leather.
Francis.
He said the same thing: is patience and understanding people. That is so true. That's what you've learned in life. That's a big lesson. That is a good lesson.
It helps to paint, because I do a lot of painting.
Painter.
And you have a lot of time to think and to meditate. And subsequently, you feel the depth of wanting to understand what it's all about, why we are here.
What do you think
earth.
why we're here, Linda? Because you paint. You're
I think
very
it's
concerned.
to improve our soul. It's to improve our spiritual life.
What kind of painting do you do?
I like to do children's faces. And my next exhibition is going to be the faces of America, with an Indian child, Chinese, European, or let's say English, all the different races.
Remember the wonderful big eyes in Paris? The guy used to do Keane. He did those wonderful little girls and the little kids, the faces of the little kids with the big eyes. Keane in Paris. When I was living in Paris, I used to see him.
There's also a German one that did marvelous ones too, with great big eyes.
Linda, you like to paint.
I love to paint.
What do you think of when you're painting? What does Linda Christian think?
Well, exactly that. It's you philosophize. You listen to nice classical. But the time flies.
It does?
You have no idea. I forget about eating. I forget about everything. It's just concentration, and at the same time the thinking with the classical music, which helps.
Your daughter, close to Taryn?
Taryn,
You're close to your children?
Very close, yes.
Linda Christian, you wrote a book years ago called...
30 years ago.
30 years ago, was it really? Was it, you told all? Was it a told all like Shelley Winters kind of a book?
Actually,
No,
I was talked into it because I said I was too young at the time to be wise enough to write a book, and they said, no, we'll ask you the questions, and then you'll write it in your own words. And I answered the questions they wanted to know.
How about Cohn? I want to know about Cohn at Columbia. Linda
Harry-
Christian, yeah,
Harry
Harry Cohn.
Cohn.
You
He
know,
was-
Linda, look how beautiful you are. Look at this happy. Look at this. Look how beautiful you
Yeah.
are. Look, I know it's gorgeous. I mean, you're gorgeous. Look at this. Look at Happy Times right here. I want to show this. Look. Look at this, you. Look how beautiful you are right here.
On the other
Cohn,
side.
Harry Cohn. Come on. How did Linda
Harry
Christa
Cohn
handle him?
He was
His
like a
reputation.
lovable bear. He was very sweet with me.
Linda, you're going to sit there and tell me he really was a lovable bear?
Yes, with me he was.
Really?
And also he invited Tyrone and myself to dinner with
Is
his
it because you were
wife and
Mrs.
John.
Tyrone Power at the time? you
Yes,
think?
I think he was trying very hard to get Tyrone to do this.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Solomon and Bathsheba sooner than he did.
This is a beautiful picture of you. And look at this.
The VIP with Rod Taylor.
Rod
You didn't
Taylor.
mention Rod.
Look at that beautiful picture of you. Just lovely. Was that at MGM?
Yes.
It was.
But
Did
in
you-
London we did most of the shooting,
Shooting
in
in
England.
London? Yes. The airport there.
Yeah.
Shooting in the airport.
Right.
I remember that scene at the airport. You were wonderful in that.
And some of
Wonder-
my
I wish I had
scenes
that
were
clip.
cut out.
I wish I had that clip from the airport
Some of my
scene.
nicest scenes.
This is lovely. Who's this?
The Happy
This
Time with Louis Jourdan.
Louis Jourdan. God, he was young there.
Yeah, so was I.
Linda, you must have had some great memories of looking back over at MGM days.
Yeah, I like
Some of the
being at MGM.
Let's go back. MGM.
MGM.
Happy moments there. Tell me, could you share one happy moment on the set or something in the commissary or...
With Ava Gardner, we used to
ahead.
a lot of photographs together, and she was wondering when she was going to have her big break, and that was with a loan out. I think
You mean
it
she
was
wasn't having a big break at the time?
No.
She was under contract stock?
Yes, also stock.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, with Sid
Go ahead.
Charisse.
Uh-huh.
No, Esther Williams was already hard at work,
Uh-huh.
swimming away.
What's... Go on, tell me more about
Well,
Ava.
I don't know what I should.
Yeah, please do. You can say it in French if it's naughty. Go ahead, I love it.
No, because Frank Sinatra stopped me on the lot and said, "Would you like to have dinner with me tonight?"
Uh-huh.
And I said to Ava that afternoon, "Can you imagine? He invited me to dinner, and he's a married man."
Uh-huh.
And she said, "Did he?" And then the two of them got together and got married. I put it in a nice way, all right?
Living in Rome, living in America, living in Mexico. Happiest moments, where? The most happiest moments, where? Where does Linda Christian love to spend mostly, or happiest moments?
I seem to flourish more in Italy.
Italy?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because they're so... I love the continentals like that. The
They're very
Italians-
warm and enthusiastic. Even if you're there downhearted, in no time you are uplifted and everything changes. The sunshine seems to be brighter. The beauty of the country seems to enhance. I don't know what it is. It's something magical with Italy.
Looking back, you went to Catholic schools,
Yeah.
educated beautifully, languages, as a child.
Mm.
Did you have a happy time there as a child growing up?
Yes.
And now, looking back,
But then
could you do-
going through the war too, you don't.
Going
you
through the
mustn't
war?
Forget that we had to. I had to leave Italy, the school there, because the Germans had invaded Holland, and they were fast advancing in Europe. Then we went to the Middle East, and there we were being bombed because there were the petroleum deposits in Haifa. Then we were sent to South Africa for the duration of the war, but I became very ill with malaria, caught in Mombasa in Kenya, and then we went back to Mexico because some clairvoyant in Cairo predicted my whole life, and he said, "You're going to go back to the country where you were born." And when I mentioned that to Mother, she said, "It's impossible, we have to stay in the sterling area," because my father had his money in sterling. So we cannot go to the dollar area. But the clairvoyant had said that also that I was going to become very ill and we are going to go back. And everything he's ever said with my whole life came true.
really,
Everything.
Is it because you believed, do you think?
No, I was a
It's just-
child.
it's just as a child, you didn't know.
I was a very young girl. I didn't
see.
know
You didn't know.
anything. He was so beautiful that I was just staring at this beauty when he came into the hall of the hotel. And he came over to me in a beautiful English. He was an Arab with a white turban and a long white cassock or whatever you call those things. And he said, I'm going to predict your future. And I said, I haven't any money. And he said, nevertheless, I shall predict your future. And everything he said came true. To the details.
Linda, close with Mama, family, close, all your children. What makes it so close with Linda Christian? Because you travel around, you keep constantly coming back and forth, seeing your children, traveling and all that. You were very close with your mother. You were there till she died. Some happy memories with her?
Oh, yes. We shared we were like...
You were always on the phone with her constantly?
Yes, we were like sisters, and she was so bright until the last moment.
What did you learn from your mother, Linda?
I think a little practicality, which I don't have.
Linda Christian doesn't have practicality?
No, not at all.
Most VIPs don't. I don't think so.
Otherwise, I would have probably accepted the proposals of my multimillionaire friends.
Tell me about Edmund Prudhoe. We talked about Tyrone Power, but mostly, let's talk about Edmund.
I don't think I want to talk about him.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay. He was short in your life, right? And,
well, yes, that was a final blow, so to speak.
Lana Turner, you're very close with. You see her? Is she in town? You see her right now?
No,
do you?
I don't.
You don't see her?
No, I think that Lana thought that I took Tyrone away from her, so I don't think she's very kindly towards me. But it wasn't so. It was just destiny.
You're going to write another book? You wrote the book 30 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
Now you've 30 years.
Everywhere I go, in Italy and Mexico, here, they keep saying, why don't you update it? Bring another book.
Yes.
But as I like to live in the present, if it is going to be done at all, I'd like somebody to help me do it very fast and get it over with.
Who would you like to see do Linda Christian in a film?
Oh, that...
Right now. Who would you like to see?
I don't know.
You don't have any? I read your book. You know, it's a wonderful book. 30 years ago. Still, I have it. But it's a wonderful book. And who would you like to see at this moment of the age of doing it? Linda Christian. Because you've lived a very exciting, glamorous life in the 40s.
Been published
Richard Conte and all these great people, Charles Boyer.
It's been published in England 3 or 4 times and in Italy. My memoirs in Holland and France, Germany. And they pay much better than a book.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
The memoirs do?
The memoirs do.
And Rome, you live happy there. You do a lot of talk shows, a lot of appearances going out.
I've done also
Linda Christian, any
television.
Any man in your life right now?
The men probably are my 2 grandchildren, my 2 grandchildren.